Hello, everyone. We are here with attorney Ruby Powers, and today we're going to present about empowering actions of Writ of Mandamus. Break free from delays and seize your case's momentum. Hi, Ruby.
Hi, thanks, Ileana. This is a really important topic, and just give you a background. I'm board certified immigration attorney practicing out of Houston, but we have global reach because our immigration is federal and we have clients all over the US and the world, and we're helping guide and navigate complex immigration matters for our clients all over. So today we want to talk about something really important, and that's the mandamus. And before we get started, I just want to, the whole way to do mandamus is if you have to exhaust all your other, what we call remedies, all other options. You don't go from zero to mandamus without having done some other things to get there. And so let's walk through some of what those other things are. So one of them is being outside of, you have to be outside of the processing times, or the processing times have to be egregious. So for example, and let me give a little preface about what we're talking about here. If you've been waiting, 7 years or for your affirmative asylum interview, if you've been waiting 3 years for your I-601A, or you've been waiting, their U visa too long for that work authorization under deferred action, these are the types of cases we're seeing people wanting to file mandamuses for. But there's others out there, and what's been inconsistent is that some cases are getting approved so fast, like online in 400 naturalization filing, we're getting interviews so fast. But then right now, and I was at one yesterday for something we filed just a couple months ago. But then there's some cases that are just like on the slowest track ever. And so those are the ones where this topic is for you. So we here at Powers Law Group have experience with mandamuses, and we've worked with attorneys around the country to help clients regardless of where they live. But let's go through what those steps would look like. So first of all, you've checked the processing times. Now, this is what I don't like about USCIS's website, is that they're telling us now that what the processing time is, and they'll say 80% of the cases are adjudicated within this time. But what they don't say is, like, if it's e-filing, it actually has a way faster processing time. And I think what they're doing is using the averages to make the processing times look better. But sometimes what they'll also say is, even though 80% of the cases get adjudicated within whatever time they're saying, they also don't let you complain or do a service inquiry until a certain date. So if you go to the USCIS.gov website and you go to processing times for your specific case, they will tell you when it is you're allowed to start doing a service inquiry. So if you've done the service inquiry, or it's just an egregious processing time, that's probably the first thing to check. And you also want to check your case status. So you go to USCIS.gov and you put in your receipt number. Your receipt number is that's the number that's on the receipt that you got for when you filed. So if it was I-45, I-601A, I-589, there's a receipt number, and you put it here and it'll tell you something like, we received it on whatever date, or we transferred your case to whatever, or you've had an interview. It'll probably say something really basic, but this is also where you can know what's going on. If you also have a case status online, if you have a USCIS.gov, like an online account, you can also see that there as well. So if you're outside of the processing time, and or it's just a very long, egregious processing wait, and you've also tried other ways to speed it up, you can also try maybe to do an InfoPass appointment. Now, the thing is that this goes back and forth. Sometimes it's allowed, sometimes it's not. And in fact, they're trying to not get you to do InfoPass appointments for things that take too long. They're trying to funnel you to online and trying to troubleshoot, but they change the system, the process every once in a while, and it gets really confusing. But this used to be the way, and sometimes it is the way. So I'm just bringing it up because InfoPass appointment really means that you would be able to go have an in-person appointment and try to, like, talk to a human and say, hey, why is my case taking so long? but it's not consistent whether you're allowed to do this or not, and wherever you live, where if you're allowed to do it or not. So then the other thing to note is there's this thing called ombudsman. And you're like, whoa, what's that? And you're like, well, actually, this is a term and concept for like where a troubleshooter, basically where to, it's like the comment box. It's like if you got a problem, you're supposed to, there's a place, and USCIS has an ombudsman. And I will tell you, this was sort of a nice little secret for many years. Under the Trump era, it wasn't as helpful. There was a lot more waiting times to get responses, but this is something you should have in your toolkit and your toolbox. And I've been hearing that their processing times of getting back to you could be faster. Now, when you do an ombudsman inquiry, you have to say all the other stuff we just got to. How long are you in processing times? What's the problem? What did you try to do to remedy it, fix it? And so anyway, this can be an option, but sometimes I've just not waited for the response from the ombudsman, but sometimes it makes sense to wait for it before having to go to what we're leading up to, which is the mandamus. So this is another option, and this also might be what you need instead of the mandamus for just to try to fix a problem. So we're sort of starting this webinar on things, how to advocate, how to speed up cases, how to get things back on track, if you will. Okay, so then there's also this. You can reach out to your congressperson or senator. Now, almost every congressperson and senator has on their website a little place that's like, ask for help or advocacy on your case. And they make you fill out something like, what have you already done? And who's the person? And how do we know they're a constituent, which means that they live in their district? Or do you give us permission to talk to the government agency or wherever department on your behalf? Now, some offices are a lot more, let's say, gung-ho friendly to immigrant advocacy and just in general, and some are just a little bit more not, okay, and they don't have as much of an interest or as many good relations with the rest of the agency. So sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. But if what benefits us is that at least you tried that and demonstrated that, that can be very helpful leading up to where we're going to, which is the mandamus. In fact, sometimes this might solve the problem. So you never know. Okay, so writ of mandamus, this is some Latin stuff here, but basically it means we command. We are asking you, we're not just asking, we are commanding you to do something about this. This is ridiculous. It's taking too long. And this is the only way to solve this problem. So and in fact, not only have we checked the processing times, we've done an infopass, we've done an inquiry, we've called a congressperson, we've called a senator, we filed expedite requests. That's the other thing you could do. And if they're denied and you can prove that you tried. So that's why when we say exhaust your remedies, it's fancy stuff for saying like you've tried everything else and it hasn't worked. And this is your last resort. In fact, this is the last resort because it's ridiculous that you, depending on where you're filing, like in the Houston area, you have to pay $400 and I think it's $1 or $402. So random for the filing fee. And then there's the legal fee. So like, why would you want to have to do that unless it was really important and you wanted to get this resolved and you've tried everything else? And I'll tell you, trying all that other stuff is a lot of pain and suffering, and you might have hired an attorney to help you. So this is now, where are we seeing some of this stuff happening? We're seeing this on the I-601As. There's like a class action right now. And I will tell you, I've seen a lot of receipts showing up on my portal saying, oh, we're finally looking at your case after 2.5 to 3 years. Yeah, so I think something's moving there. We've also seen this with asylums, we've seen this with waivers, and we've also seen this with like U visas. So it's need to have the petitioner, so we need to know who's the petitioner in this case. And so that's usually the immigrant applying for whatever the situation, the case is. And then we also need to know, who we're suing. Are we suing USCIS, DHS, FBI, Is it the asylum office, the court? We have to be aware of who those people are. We need to also look to jurisdiction. And so, for example, if you're in like the Houston area, the Southern District of Texas, that's the one that has jurisdiction. So we're, myself and other attorney are admitted into that court. But if you live somewhere else around the country, we can team up with another attorney and what's called pro hoc vice, which more Latin. Basically, we team up with them so that we can use their, so that they can help us file on our client's behalf and sort of like let us be filing on using their admittance and teaming up together. So we have to establish that there's unreasonable delays, and here again, that we've exhausted our administrative remedies and we're asking for what's the relief, which is, what do we want? We want an answer. We want an interview. We want an answer. We want results. And so you need to be specific on what you're asking for. And then you have evidence to back everything up. So that's all the stuff you've done to try to move this case along. So I just want to give this this idea, like the US is divided up into a whole bunch of courts of appeals and district courts. And so depending on where you live and whoever has jurisdiction over your case, you would need to file in the court that has that jurisdiction. And so you can look here, or you can look anywhere, to find out to who does, but you really have to analyze this, because maybe the attorney isn't admitted in that district court, or maybe they need to team up with that pro hoc vice thing I was talking about. But that's not really that big of a deal. Like we can represent clients everywhere as long as we team up with another attorney that is admitted into that court. So filing it's you put the whole packet together and the complaint, and you have all the summons and the notices. And then once you file it, there's a filing fee. And then you've got to be ready. You're going to be advocating with AUSAs. You're going to be trying to find out if there's a resolution. I'll just say that for our asylum cases that have been pending a long time, we've generally seen not only an interview, but a result of the interview within 120 days of filing the lawsuit. And we've also seen times where we might get a request for evidence for something and we have to respond quickly. Or if it's to get an interview, then you've got to be ready to have that interview. And for our asylum cases that have been pending, our oldest ones are 2015. So that's a really long, that's 8 years. Oh my goodness. So those cases need to be updated and you've got to be ready. So this is just one aspect. And in fact, if you already have an attorney that filed the 589, the asylum or the I-601A or the U or the whatever, but you need an attorney to help you with the mandamus, then that's fine. They don't have to be the same attorney. In fact, we can work hand in hand and in some synergy with the other attorney. So it doesn't mean you have to change your other attorney. We can work together. So you file this when you've exhausted all other options. It's ridiculous, unreasonable delay, and you can show that and explain that. And this is the only way this can be solved. And you want to document it. You want to demonstrate that harm and that, you need a result. And, the benefits are you get an answer. You get to move on with your life. For asylum seekers been waiting 8 years, they then have to turn around if they get approved and wait for adjustment and then wait for citizenship. And they've been here for so long. Or I-601A. I mean, why does it have to take 3 years? They still have another year or two left probably on the process. So this is a way to access justice. And the thing is that the more these get filed, then the more USCIS is going to get, or whoever is going to get in trouble. And they're going to be working on trying to get these processing times, because district courts are going to be like, why don't you get your act together? And why are we dealing with all these immigration lawsuits? And I'll tell you, this was not a common thing for immigration attorneys to do. But the last couple of years, we've seen a lot more of these filings and even class actions. So anyway, this is a tool for you. This is something that you could do. Feel free to give us a call for a consult, and we can walk through, see if you're eligible and where you would need to file. So that was a brief summary of mandamus and how you can use it to help empower you and get your case some momentum, and hopefully that final result that you've been waiting for too long. Ileana, what do we got going on the rest of this month?
So we have another attorney and she's going to help us with the Spanish ones. And also we are presenting with her immigration. That's a great topic for next week. And we are also presenting O1 visa. So please keep updated and follow us on all our social media platforms so you know what's happening with us. We also have our newsletter so you can subscribe.
Yeah,
oh, sorry. And all the social media.
Oh, good. That's
And if you need a consult, you can call us, you can reach out through email, or go to our website and find out how you can contact us.
And I'll be attending the American Immigration Lawyers Association annual conference in Orlando next week. And so I'll be learning more and getting some more ideas on our webinars. But if there's a topic you'd like to hear from us, just let us know. And we'll definitely keep you in mind for those things. And I think we'll announce our July webinars very soon as well in August. Well, thanks for watching, and definitely give us a call if this is of interest or something